All right, guys, here we are with the word on the block. Man, what a great evening. If you've been around the car business, the fundraising business, or the auction business, I've got two guys on with me today. One is from way up north in the tri-state area. Michael Riggins has blessed us today, and he is the 2016, if I don't mess this up, World Automobile Auctioneer Champion. And then, of course, right from Murfreesboro, the geographical center, Michael, of Tennessee is where Jay Cash lived. In Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And what I wanted to do tonight, once again, just an informal roundtable discussion with three professional auctioneers, plenty of avenues for you to make live comments. If you got any questions for anybody on the panel, specifically those two, you feel free to comment. Be sure to give live to give permission to what's this place called? What's it called, Jay? What are we streaming on?
StreamYard.
Make sure you tell StreamYard that it's okay. That way your name comes up and you're not incognito when you're making the comments. But we're going to talk a little bit about tonight, with Michael and Jay, specifically about how their industry, their specific spot in the industry has been affected with COVID-19. You know, Michael travels all over the country as a professional auctioneer, but more specifically kind of in the contract world and even more specifically in the automobile world. And Jay does a little bit of everything, but a large amount of fundraising business. Yeah. Both of those particular asset classes or both of those realms of the auction business have been adversely affected by COVID-19, as all of the auction industry has. So, Michael, I want to first welcome you. Thank you for coming on. If you don't mind, there might be 10 people out there that don't know who you are. Tell us about yourself and kind of tell us a little bit of interesting things about you. Tell us how you got in the car industry, the auction industry, and how's it going up in the tri-state area?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me, Shane. I do appreciate that. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Michael Riggins. I make my home in Somers, Connecticut, which is a small town just north of the city of Hartford. I've been in the car auction business for approximately 17 years now. As a full-time car auctioneer, I've been selling about 4 to 5 sales a week for about the past 14 years. So a fair amount of time in the car business. And unfortunately, I've never seen anything to the likes of what we're going through right now. The area that I live in, the tri-state area, as Shane mentioned, the Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, which is 3 states that I do work in, along with Massachusetts, have been hit pretty hard by this epidemic, and it has affected my business pretty greatly. So I'm anxious to talk about it and how I see us coming out on the other side.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we were talking a little bit offline just about the different effects, and I'm really excited to hear kind of a veteran's perspective on it. I mean, I know not only are you a World Automobile Auctioneer Champion, but you're a guy that depends heavily on that industry. So we'll swing back around that. But with no further ado, down at the bottom of our screen is Jay Cash, and everybody knows him as the auctioneer and the real estate broker here in Middle Tennessee. Does a lot of business, and I'm blessed to kind of travel up and down the road with him occasionally. But tonight I want to focus, Jay. I mean, you're, a portion of your business, portion of your income, and what you're really good at is fundraising auctions. Yeah. I mean, you're doing it all over the country. How has that been affected recently?
Well, 100% of it has absolutely disappeared. In fact, I just got an email not probably 3 hours ago notifying me of an event on September 13. They're pulling the plug, and they just don't feel like they can be successful raising money, which is sad, because now more than ever, the good work that so many of the nonprofits that we work for, that doesn't stop just because of COVID-19. However, they can't gather. So it's really amazing. I feel like everybody that's in the auction world or that's in the benefit auction world has already wrapped their head around the virtual gala. And that's what we're doing. We're actually shooting a demonstration video on Thursday. And that's basically where the nonprofits that we work for, the work that they do is so vital and important in the communities in which they operate. It's what most auctioneers have been doing for years, simulcasting auctions, but it's just simulcasting the gala, raising money. In some of those instances, they're actually making more money in the virtual gala because they don't have to spend all the money on the big venues and decorations and the band and the hotel and whatever may come from it. But 100%, pretty much all of April, all of May, June, July. I've got a few in August that haven't canceled. We've got cancellations coming in September and even got one in November. So they are all, but that really was put probably way too many eggs in the fundraising and benefit world basket, but it's something that was absolutely the most fun, the most rewarding thing that I've ever gotten to do. And I'm not sorry for it, but it is sad when all of that completely disappears due to something that's beyond everybody's control.
Yeah, that brings up a point again that Michael and I were just kind of BSing about before this started. And I'll quote him again, and I've actually got him on the hook. He's going to be on the show in the next couple of days up in Colorado. Our buddy Sean Hagler, who's a professional auctioneer and a professional ringman, he stated this, I don't know, 6 weeks ago, and it was remarkable to me. And Michael, I'd love to know how this resonates with you, and I want to set this up the correct way because I don't want it to be misinterpreted. So the folks, if you don't know, the auction industry has very specific avenues, if you will. There's some folks that sell just about everything. There's some folks that sell personal property only. There's some people that sell just real estate, just contract auctioneers that run up and down the road selling livestock. Sometimes they just sell automobiles. It's a full gambit. But when you really get good at a specific asset class, the National Auctioneers Association has done a real good job of coming out with some new things lately for them, but we call them contract auctioneers. Essentially, you're like a sole proprietor, independent contractor going around the country and selling a specific asset. Now, in Michael's case, that's automobiles. From my understanding, probably dealer auctions, but either way, regardless of the type of wholesale auction or private, or if it's a public auction or private auction, dealer auction, doesn't matter. Here's what I want to ask. So you have honed your craft. You're at the top of your game. You won in 2016. You competed against, and we all know almost everyone is equal. It's just if it's your day. That beautiful trophy behind you from 2016, the World Automobile Auctioneer Champion. You run up and down the road. You've created relationships with not only the managers and the owners of these specific automobile dealers and the auction, the auction owners, but also the sellers, the buyers, everybody, right? And you're wanted all over the country, and you're booked 5 days a week, and then you got caught working. That's what Sean Hagler said. I loved it. So talk to me in that particular scenario. And kind of what you see the future being, and what would you do different, if anything?
So Sean's exactly right. It was easy for a lot of years. For, like I said, for about 14 years, I was doing 4 to 5 wholesale dealer auctions a week without any trouble and without really looking back. But I think going forward, there's going to have to be some serious insight and some serious self-reflection as far as, like Jay just mentioned, he put all his eggs in one basket. I'm kind of guilty of the same thing. I have all my eggs in the wholesale auction basket, and like a guy who I feel is really, really intelligent and I listen to quite intently, Joseph Mass, said one time, we're all going to be unemployed and at some point. And when he said that, I said, not this guy. I'm not going to be unemployed. I mean, I got 5 auctions a week. I can get hired over the telephone. This is a piece of cake, right? And when he said that, I kind of took it with a grain of salt, and he was right. The thing that's kind of helping me now is the choices that I've made. Like I spoke to you earlier, Shane, the last 15 to 17 years of choices that I've made as far as how I run my business, how I save my money, what I do to protect myself against having to go find a job at Home Depot right now. That those decisions back then are what's protecting me right now. And how do I think it's going to look moving forward? that's something that kind of remains to be seen. But I feel like it's going to come back. There's a demand for live auctions. It's the best way to sell cars, in my professional opinion. So that kind of the business will come back. Is it going to look the same as it does right now? I don't know. I don't know that. Are cars going to stop coming through the building? They already have in certain avenues and certain ways of selling. Like, for instance, fleet lease vehicles have kind of slowed the cars coming through the building have kind of slowed. That's really not happening as much anymore. They're doing more of a virtual type auction with a live auctioneer. Is that going to continue to expand? Probably. But dealer automobiles, the best way to sell them is with people there kicking the tires and lighting the fires, right? I mean, that's kind of where they bring the most money. So do I feel like it's going to come back? Yes, I do. Do I think it's always going to be the way it is now? Probably not. But it has a lot to do with our choices and how we, like you mentioned, the relationships that we have with the dealers, the general managers, the people that we are in contact with, that we're selling their product and working at their auctions. Here's where it becomes exceedingly important in times like this, where I can rely on my relationship with a dealer and with that auction general manager to make sure that when he needs an auctioneer, he's calling me and not somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, I love that answer, and that's something you said earlier that kind of resonated with me. And I just, in case nobody knows, I the first 15 years of my adult life, for 12 to 14 years, I was in the military. And I'll tell you one thing you take for granted: on the 1st and the 15th, you get a paycheck, right? 1st and the 15th, regardless of how well you do, as long as you stay out of Leavenworth, you get a paycheck in the military. So as I have transition to the auction industry, where we're primarily commission based, performance based at times, it's a little bit different. So I love that mentality, right? What you said is you either get diversified, you figure out another way, a secondary revenue stream, and all the serial entrepreneurs all over the country, or as Jay would say, the life coaches will say the same thing. Find a secondary revenue stream, or plan to be to be out of work, to be unemployed, like Joseph had said. And I think that if this has taught us anything, I feel like it's taught me one specific thing that we'll talk about later. But the second thing would definitely to be diversified or plan accordingly. Jay, you kind of done.
Michael, can I ask a question to Michael?
Sure.
So the simulcast stuff's been happening. You guys have been, having lanes with simulcast forever.
Sure.
Obviously, I would imagine, not being a car guy, demand for cars are down. The small lots and everywhere, the demand might be down just naturally because people aren't buying cars right now. Have you heard any feedback? I mean, is it tough on a car buyer, if they weren't going towards that simulcast method? There's some people that just like to go in person. Have you heard any feedback from buyers, what they're thinking, because their world's rocked too, how they've always bought cars?
100%. Yeah. The minimal feedback that I have heard is guys want to get back in the lanes.
Mm-hmm.
So it really kind of depends on what you're buying. It sounds like it's a small diversification, but it's really kind of not. When you're buying fleet lease vehicles, such as like off lease Hondas or Toyotas and such, those cars are kind of easier bought online than, per se, like a dealer car, maybe a 2005 Lexus that has 120,000 miles. Might be a great car, but it's hard to buy that car without smelling the inside, walking around it, touching it, feeling it. I think that's kind of the separating factor between being able to buy a car effectively online and having to be in the lanes to buy it.
A lot of people don't understand that, right? And I'm just as guilty. I just am blessed to be working daily with a gentleman who's made his real living and cut his teeth in the auction industry in those lanes. And he explains it to me this way: there's a lot more going on than you understand, and there's a lot more going on than a computer will ever be able to do. But I will say this.
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah.
I will say this, and this is not my comment either. I stole this from somebody. You need to be able to do something besides count. Okay. At some point in the auction industry, regardless if it's in cars or if it's in personal property or real estate, like there's going to be a computer that can outcount us, right? So you have to have a personality. You have to be able to put deals together.
Right. The value in what I do on a daily basis has very little to do with my ability to count bids. Okay. It has much more with my ability to read buyers, read sellers, understand those relationships, and be an effective seller, not just count money. Okay. Anyone can get up there and talk fast. It's not about that. And it becomes sure. And in this kind of an environment, it becomes exceedingly important that you can do more than just count money. Okay, our hands are tied in a lot of ways with no buyers in the lane. They're tied in a lot of ways with the effectiveness of simulcast selling, only simulcast selling, and you have to be able to rely on your knowledge and your studying over the time that you've been doing this to be able to come out on the other side.
And, let's kind of swing it, Jay, your direction. We know what Michael's dealing with and all of those folks going up and down the road that automatically came to a screeching halt. What about the benefit arena? I mean, you said that they're all stopped. What do you see is in the future? And let me also preface this by a lot of the organizations you work for, this is their number 1 or number 2 fundraiser of the year. This is the way that they keep their nonprofit afloat. Are you looking into some virtual things? Are you looking into just rescheduling? Kind of what does that arena look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, all the nonprofits that we work for, the work that they do is so important in the communities where they're located. We're in 14 states doing fundraisers. A lot of it's in Atlanta, Birmingham, Huntsville, of course, Nashville here, but fundraising, the galas, they're all over the country right now. And one thing that echoes true throughout all of them is that the work that they're doing doesn't stop due to COVID-19. And, there's so many of these events where they're bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars, or they may be bringing in 60,000 or 40,000, but that money is imperative to their operations, and not being able to bring that in is going to be detrimental to what they're able to do for their communities. Anybody that's an auctioneer in the benefit world probably has already experienced that. We're switching over to virtual galas, and that's just we're using technology just like we are right now, where we're still having the gala, but it's online. It's a little bit different, but it's truly remarkable what some of the groups are doing. Just the other night in Nashville, our first virtual gala done in Nashville anywhere, we did, and the group is going to end up making over $80,000 more because they didn't have to rent the Omni Hotel. They didn't have to feed 600 people. They didn't have to have a band. They didn't have to spend all the money that they were going to have to spend. And so that's sort of a positive that's coming out of it. I don't know if it's going to be just sort of a fad that comes and goes, but there's other fundraisers that have switched to the virtual gala, and they're making 40% of what they need to make to operate. But everything's going to virtual, or they're canceling it altogether. I've got everything that I've done, April, May, June. I said it earlier, group in September just canceled a few hours ago on me because they just don't think it's going to be successful. So they're trying to pull the plug early. And who am I to judge? But that's what we're dealing with.
And it's funny, and I don't know if I told you this or Michael, but there'll be live comments that are coming, and some of them I can bring across the screen, and other ones just really aren't worth bringing across the screen. But I want to bring this one across because it's a funny inside joke between Jay and Dustin. But Dustin, another example of a consummate professional who has traveled all over the country, and I saw him do it. I saw him do it the other day, right? He was doing a simulcast heavy equipment auction. I would assume multi-million-dollar heavy equipment auction for Ritchie Brothers. He did it in his living room, garage, side room, bonus room, whatever. And just real quick, Michael, we know that you're blessed to work with one of the greatest organizations, Barrett Jackson. And Jay and I got to come down there. We were there on a different agenda, but we got to visit for the first time. And holy cow. And this is just my plug. If you've never been there, if you're in the auction industry, you think that Barrett Jackson is just another car auction, you could not be more wrong. So talk to us a little bit about that. How did that start? Obviously, That's the creme de la creme as far as the auction industry goes. That's the biggest stage, in my opinion. How was that experience, and how has that kind of shaped your career?
Man, where do I start? I mean, that is. It's wow. I mean, it was really more than I can really put into words. It kind of all started with my winning of the WAC championship in 2016, where I made some really good friends with Peter Garris and Joseph Mast and TJ Freege and some of these guys, and I just kind of stuck with it, and the dice kind of rolled my way. I mean, that's I'll tell you what. I mean, I'm like the the most inexperienced guy in the world on that team. Those guys are amazing. I mean, each and every one of them are the like you said, the creme de la creme of the auction world. And it was an honor and a pleasure to be a part of that team for that sale, because let me tell you what, like you said, if you think you watched it on TV, there you go, Jay. If you watched it on TV, if you think you've seen a car auction, until you've been to that place, you haven't seen it. It's like nothing I've ever been a part of, but it was an honor and certainly a pleasure to be there for sure.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable the amount of energy that's in that room. You know, Jay and I were there kind of early in the day, but you could feel it. You know, I mean, when you start going through the turnstiles coming in, it's like going to a sporting event, right? Oh. And then as you make your way through the showroom and you get into the main auction facility, it's off the charts. There's a great video out there if anybody wants to check it out of Jay Cash actually up on the stage videoing himself.
Fanboying, yeah.
But no, seriously, unreal, absolutely unbelievable.
It's from day one to day 9. It's something to behold, and it certainly was an honor. I can't say that I belong in the company of those talented ringmen and auctioneers that are on that team, but I sure am glad to be in it. It was something I'll never forget for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Jay, we're transitioning. The benefit auction world's transitioning away from large gatherings for the moment. You are going to start doing some virtual galas. Do you think that is going to be as beneficial to the nonprofits? Do you feel that that's something you can offer them now in a different world? You know, kind of in a world where we can't gather in large groups.
I think so. Yeah, the new haircut. I've been trying to go rogue. Whoever asked that question, unidentified Facebook user. I've offered her double, and I don't know what the deal is. Maybe the unemployment, she can't work or something. But I'm begging for a haircut. The virtual gala, I think it's got some legs here. It could be a fad, you know, where people get tired of logging on. But man, when you go live on these Facebook videos, I mean, there have been times that we've had, you know, 130 people watching, and it's like, what the heck? This is insane. The virtual galas that Shane, that you did the other night was a tremendous success. I think it's all about just getting people to focus and watch and have something really, really impactful. We have got an event coming up Monday night, and it's a humble event. I think it is the first event that I ever booked professionally, and I've been with them. This will be my 5th or 6th year, and it's never a huge money maker, but they're saving a ton of money, and I'm anticipating that it'll be. I think it's going to work. I really do. They got a really passionate crowd. And the neat thing is that once the event's over, people can still donate, you know, the next day, the following week. This video that we put out here is going to be on Facebook and YouTube forever, and people can stumble upon it. It's great PR, but I don't think you're ever going to replace, gathering, in person. But what I go back to is that, we've got the NFL, the Major League Baseball. You've got, people that are way more important than me as a benefit auctioneer. They're trying to figure out, Dana White, how to get the UFC back fighting, any sporting event. how do we gather 100, 200 people to raise money for children's adoptions in Middle Tennessee is important, but there's way bigger events than the 200 people we're trying to do. So I don't know if it's going to have legs that last, but I certainly see the virtual gala. It could be incorporated when we do go back live. I mean, just tonight, not to keep rambling, I know that I am, but I went to pick up food at McAllister's, and they're open. They can actually have people come in the parking lot, and this is all throughout Tennessee. And I drove probably by 30 restaurants, and there probably wasn't 15 cars and all of them put together. So, I mean, that's just because we just opened up the state of Tennessee. I don't know what your governor, we're friends with him. What's his name in Connecticut?
Lamont.
No, the governor, the senator, what's his name?
Oh, Blumenthal.
I tell you what I like about Blumenthal. Every fundraiser I've ever done in Connecticut, he's there. So whether you agree with him or not, he knows how to politic. I mean,
he's a professional politician. There's no doubt.
He is the first fundraiser. So I don't know how the politics.
My mom always told me, if you don't have anything nice to say, you keep your mouth shut.
Oh yeah, you can't talk politics. I'm just going to say where I was going with that. In Tennessee, we're one of the first. Georgia's opened up, Tennessee's opened up, restaurants are now open, but there was nobody at McAllister's. There wasn't anybody anywhere all along the thoroughfare there. But politics aside, I will say this: that your senator, Senator Blumenthal, any event I've done, he is there. I don't know how he has the time to do it, but that is like politics 101. He is I read this. He's the first elected official in Connecticut to get over 1 million votes in Connecticut. He beat Linda McMahon, who I would, of course, supported, WWE, Vince McMahon's wife.
Linda, right.
I don't know what year that was. That wasn't all that many years ago. They had that.
No, it was the last, maybe the governor's race before this one.
Or senator race, yeah, Blumenthal.
Senator
We're
race.
not talking politics, but
I don't. Michael,
just so quick for Jay, if I could, I'd like to commend you on your ability or your willingness to pivot on this and do these online things. I think that's got to be a hard transition for a live auctioneer. Coming from me, that's all I do is live events, right? And we just got done talking about how just about every live event in the country, in the world, probably is on hold, right? So the benefit auctioneers who have done this, got moved to virtual in such a short amount of time, I commend you guys for that. I mean, that's a pretty hard transition to make. And hey,
it very easily turns into QVC.
So I do want to, just really point that out, that I think that's pretty sharp.
We'll see where it goes. Check out Justin Oaks' comments right there, Shane. You see that? In Tennessee, we just opened up, and
I think that's great that Justin says that, because what I'm seeing, obviously no one's allowed in my car auctions right now. They're not allowing people in on the floor to bid in person, but I'm feeling that there's a lot of pent up demand. There's a lot of cars are selling. So it's there. I mean, they want to buy them. We just got to give them an opportunity. So that's good. I really like to see that from Justin. And Justin, thank you for saying that, and also for the word to Shane. I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, we're doing. We're seeing that $10,000 and under car is going to be off the hook here pretty quick, because a lot of people just got a big check in the mail that's burning a hole in their pocket, right? So we're hoping that the recovery is a good one and a fast one, and it starts with all of us, right? I mean, it starts with all of us, our attitudes, our togetherness, our ability to kind of work as a team at the auctions, is going to be imperative here going forward.
And I want to get this Blumenthal comment out of my head real quick, because Jay and I have seen him everywhere. Michael, I'm pretty sure at one point he had his arm in a sling. I think he was probably over medicated, and I don't mind going on the record.
Fell off his wallet.
Listen, yeah. Hey, but that man grabbed the microphone and gave an appeal before the fund a need, and everyone's money just come flying out the sky. So it was a good one. But I want to talk about this. This is an interesting dynamic. So Jay is utilizing this COVID-19 situation as kind of a pivot, right? So giving him an opportunity to take on something different, do things a little bit different. and and I think in the benefit world, it's going to be around for a little while, right? Yeah. We're probably not going to get fundraising folks in a room of 5, 6, 7, 800 people and 3-piece suits or full tuxedos for a while. But and this is just a little rumor. I'm not in the car auction business. I want to put that out there 100%. But we know things like sell-through rates are important, and we know that the car industry in general has kind of seen some of the salvage auctions just abandon the live auctioneer, which I think is an absolute disgrace, right? But this time period now, where the auto auctions have gone away from live crowds, live buyers, maybe had a simulcast seller there, but no ringmen, no drivers, and all that. Have you seen or have you heard, as far as your finger being on the pulse, have you seen that kind of a less of a sell-through rate, not as advantageous to the sellers, to where that maybe will straighten some of these bigger organizations out and they understand the importance of a professional ringman, a professional auctioneer behind the microphone?
Well, I sure hope so. Because us as auctioneers have certainly noticed it. And I believe that the auctions themselves have noticed it too. I haven't had too many conversations with the management to that topic, but I do feel like, certainly the cars are bringing less money, as Justin commented on there wisely, that MMR was a little bit off. So for those of you that don't sell cars and don't know what MMR is, it's basically the valuation done by the auction. That's the Manheim Market Report, which is kind of the auction Bible per se of car values. So if MMR is off, that means that the sell-through rate of the rate that the cars are achieving are not as high as normal. So I think it's going to be increasingly important for us to understand where the bottom is and understand what kind of what kind of market we're dealing with, and you're going to have to do that on the fly every day, basically.
Yeah, but that's what you guys are good at, right?
That's what separates the wheat from the chaff, right? I mean, that's what separates the wheat from the chaff. So we have to then decide where those eggs are going to go, or what auctions are we going to work for. Now Justin's saying that corporate auctions are looking to save money. Not sure if the dollar amount or the money is totally on their radar. He's right. Okay. Corporate auctions have had a flight to safety and cost savings for the last 5 years. Okay. This is going to push them further in that direction. Do I think it's the right direction? Like you mentioned with the salvage auctions, getting rid of the live auctioneer. They're not looking at their bottom line as far as I'm concerned. They're going to lose money. So
well, and I think that if they could ever get away from it or away with it, the salvage auctions, in my opinion, as a novice, is about the only place you can. Because again, I want to go back to you guys are the specialists, and don't underestimate the folks on the ground, right? The professional ringmen. A lot of times they're putting together deals while you're working on the next one. There's so much going on. So for me, I mean, I personally believe that it'll be around for a long time. And I also, agree with some of the sentiments that folks have said in the past. And I think Peter Galas may have been the one that said it. Utilize this time, this downtime. You should have been building, honing your craft, whatever that craft is, because if there are going to be some people, kind of eliminated, you need to be better. You need to be the best. You need to be continuing to hone your craft and developing those characteristics that will separate you from the pack. Because even if we don't want to say it, it's a war of attrition, right? At some point, the weaker will fall and the stronger will rise, and the cream will rise to the top. So, I think that this has been an important time for the auction industry and the contract auctioneers. Man, if you guys make it through this, it's only going to make you stronger. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's your feeling on that, Jay? I really think that I think that it's just what we talked about, right? The time spent on yourself the last however long your career has been up until now is gonna separate you when this recovery starts. Okay. I mean, I just feel like I feel like if you spent the time prior to now, you're going to be in a lot better position than you are if you didn't. Okay.
Yeah, there's been so many comments about how, truly you think about it, auctioneers, not necessarily what you do in the car world, but in general, auctioneers are the anti of everything that Amazon is. You want to buy it? Okay, cool. Here's all the terms and conditions, and you sure can't return it. You want to pick it up? Well, you can't do that until Thursday of the following week, and that's the only time. If you don't pick it up in those 2-hour windows, you're done. And Shana, go on and on and on. We're the exact opposite of what Amazon is. And so we have been exploring some different options, to be a little more lenient, work with people a little bit more. And we would never be considering this if it wasn't for what's been going on now. I vote that Justin Oaks just joins the live stream here. We got room for one more person. I don't know why.
Get him on. I love
get him in here because he's got an opinion. He dropped some truth on me the other night that it was shocking, but it's
I like where Cody Shelley commented here. Cody, the current world automobile auctioneer champion, right there, Mr. Cody Shelley from Oklahoma. He believes it's going to be a blessing for the live auctioneer for years to come. Which, I don't think he's wrong. I really don't, especially in the car business. Okay, they're kind of recognizing our value. We set the market. We make the market. We're the go-between between the sellers and the buyers and the auction, and the best of us are really effective at doing that. Okay, we're effective at setting the market. We're effective at handling our buyers and sellers, and that is going to become increasingly important. And our value is going to be shown through all of this. But we honestly have to be together on this. And everyone can see that WAPA logo up on top there, which I am currently the president of the World Automobile Auctioneer Professional Association. And it's going to become more imperative with the recovery. Shane, you had mentioned the ringmen situation, and it's going to be increasingly important for them and for auctioneers as well, because let's face it, these sales are going to start opening up, but are they going to open up guns blazing every lane all at once? Probably not, right? So we need to be together on the reopening, and how can we be together? That's how, through an organization like WAPA, through that we can kind of come together and have that one conversation with everybody.
That's why Michael Riggins called me, because he's about to be on.
Now we're gonna try to get the IAC.
This ain't gonna work.
Is this Trey Morris?
Trying to figure out as soon as I can see his face and he mutes his microphone, we'll bring him on. But
I Justin to join, he won't do it.
Oh, look at that ugly guy.
I didn't know you guys were having me on today.
There's definitely
Mr. Trey Morris.
Trey.
Hey, check this out. Representing Western College of Auctioneering.
Look at that. You're the man.
Riggins, now I know why you called me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
What's going on, guys?
Trey, don't be moving around. You ain't got good Wi-Fi out there.
In case you didn't know, now hold on a second. This late join here is the current, and as Jay would say, reigning and undefeated.
Defending.
Oh, there you go. The International Auctioneer Champion, the National Auctioneers Association IAC Champion. So on the bottom of your screen, you've got the current IAC Champion. You got the 2016 World Auctioneer Champion. And Trey, we're talking about benefit auctions, the way that they've changed. We're talking about contract auctioneers and the landscape and the way that that's changed, and also talking about the future. So give us some words of wisdom, Mr. Trey Morris.
Yeah, I hope that it's just keep your chin up and ride this wave out. It's a scary situation right now, to be honest with you. I've had more and more. I've got my father-in-law; he's in the background, but I've had more and more cancellations. I have been grieving, for lack of better terms, just trying to figure out what does this look like on the other side. And to be honest, I don't know the answer. I mean, our governor spoke up today and said, hey, in 2 weeks, everybody's going to have to wear masks. So I don't even know that we've seen kind of the worst of it. But from a positive perspective, I pray every single day that we get to go back to work and we get to do things the way that we used to do things. But I think it's going to be a long transition. I'm taking this opportunity to pivot my business a little bit and to do things differently. I know these virtual galas are something they're here. I think they're going to be here to stay. And so I'm starting to look into some of those. I've had some great opportunities from some of my nonprofit clients. In fact, Jay and I are kind of talking back and forth, and we're talking a lot about that. But it's, hey, all you can do is pivot your business. You can stay positive. We don't know what this looks like, but I think we have to continue to just get up every single day and grind. And hopefully we're back to work sooner than later.
Cody Kelly taking the opportunity to pick on your beard, Trey.
Yeah, that's quarantine beard for you. You should see the long hair underneath this hat. I look terrible. My wife is making me stay in another bedroom. We don't even sleep together anymore. She said, "You don't look like the same person that I married." So,
if I can interject, I want everyone to know. I actually
never stopped you before. You may as well.
I want to let this know. I remember I went to high school with Trey. All right. And he never actually beat me up, but I do remember one time that it came awful close to it, beating me up. But I got his signature way before he was an IAC champion. I got in the back of my yearbook an autograph from him. But he I don't think anybody believed this or not, but he was an absolute class act back then, a clown that could make the whole cafeteria crack up laughing. He could just tell a story or a joke. And that was probably back in 2002, because you graduated in 03, didn't you? High school, Trey? Or no,
I graduated in 2001.
Yeah, I was 03. You're 01.
Math never was your strong suit.
It was. But I knew you were back before you were the champion. So
I know Trey probably has something else going on, but I want to get this out real quick. And again, I think this is what I love about the auction industry. Michael and I have never had more than a 5-minute conversation prior to tonight. Trey and I have had multiple conversations, but if you're out there, and this is kind of my position, okay, and you guys can chime in, but if you're 40 like me and coming into a new profession, just 5 or 6 years into it, or if you've been in it, because you're a second generation or third generation, this is what I love about the auction industry. Okay, you've got guys on 4 different spots of your screen right now, 3 of which are relatively successful, and I'm still trying to get there. And here's what, we're accessible. If you're having problems, or if you've taken that second job, because I've seen the stories, right? If you've taken that second job and you've started doing other things to make ends meet, reach out to somebody. If it's not somebody on this screen, reach out to somebody that you can confide in, talk to them about it. We're all professionals, and the reason that we're professionals is because we can pivot. We're good at what we do, but most importantly, guys like Justin Oakes, who just joined in right now, and I'll jump on here in just a second. I don't know if I got room for his big head, but that's really the thing that we do best, right? So make a phone call to somebody and let somebody help you. Collaborate with another professional, and we'll figure it out. Okay, you don't have to just give up your dream, because I didn't know I wanted to be an auctioneer until I realized the type of folks that were in this industry. So Trey, I want you to stick around. I'm not kicking you off. Stick around if you can. I just don't want somebody to run.
Great. Get more people on the screen.
Yeah.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the 2002 International Auctioneer Champion.
No, 2012. 12.
Oh, 2012. Sorry.
You
won it in
Not that
grade.
old.
He was in the 7th grade and he won.
Well, I just realized he was old when I said it, and I'm trying to help him out a little bit.
Justin, I just saw your question there on
What's up, boys?
On the stream. How are you? I appreciate that question. What WAPA is doing right now is I'm trying to stay in contact with the kind of the lead auctioneers in different parts of the country, as far as what's happening in their market. And what we're kind of planning is that
not working for me.
The WAC championship was supposed to be on May 1st, this coming Friday. So what WAPA is doing is we're going to have a where'd he go? We're going to have a
he's
He might be the 2012 IAC champion, but he's really not capable of staying on for very long. So just keep talking to him. I promise you he's listening, Michael.
That's okay. Yeah. Cody Shelley just put it up too, actually. We're going to have at 6:00 Central Time this coming Friday the 1st, WAPA is going to have a Zoom meeting for its members, and people who are interested in becoming members can get on as well. We're going to have a Zoom call to kind of a get together, an informal chat, a way to kind of bring all of us auctioneers and ringmen together on that day that we would have normally been getting together anyway at the WAC Championship in Dallas. So we are trying to stay in contact with people from across the country to figure out what's going on in each market. It's kind of a tough challenge because so many different avenues, so many different ways it's being handled in each part of the country. But we're trying to keep our finger on that pulse.
Yeah, no, and I mean it's an interesting thing that you're serving there too, because Jay and I had the pleasure of interviewing all the candidates for director for the NAA, and just to express that, I mean that heart of service, and you're in a hard time, right, with WAPA right now because of what's going on. Kudos to you as a consummate professional, kind of serving in that tough time. And Trey, I want to ask you, because I've always wanted to ask you this, and you're 7 or 8 months into your reign now. What does it feel like to be knowing that your year as the champion's coming to an end? Hey, regardless, we're never going to give you credit for 2 years, okay? So if there's not an IC this year, you're not going to be 2 years in a row. You're only going to get 1 year. So talk to us about that.
Hey, dude, I completely understand. I'll tell you, the first part of the IC run was unforgettable. Going to St. Jude, going and speaking to all the different state associations, being on the Speakers Bureau, and just being acknowledged before you take the stage, and being acknowledged and being called the international champion it's a dream come true. It's everything that I ever wanted and wished for. It's very unfortunate the way that it's the curtain's kind of fallen down on this year, I'll be honest with you. But I have to rewind and go back to last July and say, man, that was one of the greatest accomplishments that I have ever tackled and took on. And nothing can take that away. And so I'm just trying to stay positive. If we don't have another contest, then yes, I will be 2 year. I don't think anybody else has been. Well, that hasn't been confirmed by the NAA yet, but I will claim it until the very last day. And Jay will never get that. Jay is coming in hot, wanting the IAC championship. And Jay, you'll never be a 2 year champion, man.
I don't know. I may never make it, but I'll say this about Shane, not Shane, but Trey. Shane could never pull this off. But right here, if you haven't heard the Speakers Bureau, so what Trey is talking about, you win, you get to go speak at all the state associations. And Tennessee was probably the first, second in the top few of the state associations you got to come talk at, Trey. And I'm telling you, I'm not kissing your rear end or anything. Your class, jump, and the public announcing, absolutely two of the best classes I ever sat in there. And you gave everybody a little rock. I don't know how that's going to work out, if you're going to be able to afford the postage to send us our postcards back. But it was phenomenal. And it is a shame that you've not gotten to share that class with more people, because it was very eye-opening for you to discuss all the tips and tricks that you've learned on public announcing. And then likewise, your story about in 2017, you were not a full-time auctioneer, and you made the decision to jump. You went all in, and you had the biggest year of your life planned in 2020. And out of nowhere, it was wiped clean, absolutely zero every event. And I don't know how you keep your chin up, because it's phenomenal that you can stay positive.
Yeah. March the 10th, man, I was skipping along. I was super, super excited. I love that you're showing your rock. In fact, Greg Zielinski, a NAA member, he wrote me the other day. He sent me a handwritten letter, and he said, man, it's tough. I've been let go on a few car sales, but I'm going back to your jump class. And I'm using this opportunity just to stay positive. And so that was so uplifting for me. It was something I needed that day. I was just having a bad day. I was not taking all this very well. when you look at kind of my career or what I built in terms of me being in the auction business, I felt like I was diversified. I was lucky enough to get brought on by Faith Tipton. I'm working some thoroughbred horse sales, working at Barrett Jackson Classic Cars. Every Thursday I had, a car auction there 10 minutes from my house. And then I'm doing all these fundraising auctions. Jeff Martin Auctioneers down in Mississippi had me selling some heavy equipment and some machinery. So you feel diversified. You feel like you're in different asset classes. And as a contract auctioneer, you feel like you can go and travel and do. But here I am now, not diversified. I'm actually, when you put all that into one basket, it's traveling and it's public gathering. So I'm really having to take this opportunity to kind of reel it in and figure out what's next. Steve Cherry, I see your question there. Would I consider an announcer program online? Certainly. One thing I love doing is teaching auctioneers or helping auctioneers understand that what they do on the microphone is not just chanting. I love helping them understand that most of what they do on the microphone is announcing. So I would love to be a mentor for some of those people that want to make their announcements and announcing better. I've got some great ideas from Jay and his company. They do a lot of pre-recorded stuff. They do an absolutely fantastic job. If you've never heard James Arcash, the main man, the senior, do pre-auction announcements, the guy is incredible, and he's inspired me since I cut my teeth in the auction business. So Jay has carried that torch rather well. But I've kind of put a class around some auction announcing and some things that need to happen. And then it goes on to kind of an advanced level as well, what we do at Barrett Jackson in terms of timing and some of that stuff. So be more than happy to help anybody with an auction announcing program. It'd be something that I could do while I'm off.
Yeah, hey, sure. The class, Shane, you were in it, I was in it, and I'll be dang if we didn't find ourselves in a huge public address situation back in earlier this year in January. Before Trey's Wi-Fi kicks him off or he loses connection, Trey, on that IAC stage, there's no greater feeling getting there. It's absolutely the most fun you can ever have, and you will never be able to experience that kind of excitement again. And that kind of stinks, but I purposely wanted to be next to you because I knew it was going to be a big night for you. Just from day one, you drew this last year. For anybody that wasn't there, there was 70-something contestants. You drew the last spot in the entire IAC. So you had to start the morning, the evening, all the way until the afternoon when you got to go. And you did your run, as they call it. You made it to the finals. Shane, you made it to the finals. I was lucky enough to get there. And I leaned over and whispered something to you. Do you want to tell everybody what I whispered to you, Troy?
Absolutely. So top 15, we're about to take the stage. Obviously, we have left it all on the stage. The contest is over at this point. We're nervous, and we're just going to walk up. We're going to find out who's won. So to rewind, my first contest was in 2014. I made the finals. 15, I made the finals. 16, I made the finals. 17, I made the finals. And in 2018, I did not make the finals. So I'm coming off kind of a gut wrenching. I prepared all year long. I did not make the finals. I come in and I did. I left everything on the stage. I've been looking forward to it. My wife has videos. I got up. I was dancing. I had fun that day. I just kind of let my hair down and relaxed and had a great, fun day. And I thought I had a good performance. But right before we take the steps, Jay looks back at me and goes, Trey, man, I don't think you were enough. I'm sorry. I just don't think you were enough. Who you think won? Who got it? And I'm going, I don't know, but I'll tell you, I left it all on the stage, man. I did everything in my power that I could do. And of course, I hear my name come across and I end up winning, but I'll never, ever, ever forget the way he made me feel right before we took the stage.
It's in true J-Cast fashion. I mean, that's the way that he operates.
Yeah.
He humbled me. He was the first person to humble me.
Hey, let's do it this way, Michael. I want you to talk, and Trey, before you go, I want to talk about NAA. I want to talk about WAPA, and then I want to talk about Jay with the state associations. Michael, talk a little bit about WAPA in general. I mean, if we're not in the car business, we may or may not know it. As I think Jay's typing, but they may not know what WAPA is. Tell us about it, kind of the reasons you want to be an organization, a part of an organization like that.
So WAPA is specifically the World Automobile Auctioneers Professional Association, which is, it's made up of auctioneers and ringmen that specifically sell automobiles. We're here to serve the automobile professional, the professional ringman, and the professional auctioneer. And our basic goal is to be able to bring everyone together in that industry and have a common place to talk about what's going on nationwide and in our local markets. So we just want to be able to bring everyone together. And that's what we're trying to do with this Zoom call that's coming up this coming Friday at 6 p.m. We're going to Central Time. We're going to try to just have a get together in lieu of the auction contest, because everyone's supposed to be in Dallas this coming weekend for the World Automobile Auctioneer Championship, and unfortunately, that's not going to happen. So it's.
And Michael, you shared with me that it's not. If you think you might want to become a member of WAPA, you can also get
right. That's correct. We'd like to have people that are in the car industry that maybe aren't a member. We'd like to have you, be able to get on there with us and become a member. We think it's that important for the country of car auctioneers that we have a forum, right? It's a hard industry to be in sometimes, and we need that connection with everybody, each other, and I think it's a good place to do it. So we if anyone who's not a member would like to be on the call, I encourage them to reach out directly to me via Facebook or whatever, and I'll make sure they get the invite, and we'll get them out an application to become a member.
Yeah, no, that's great. Now, Jay, you have been a member of Kentucky, I know, and still a member. You've been a member of the Tennessee Auctioneers Association. I think you served as the treasurer on the Middle Tennessee Auctioneers Board of Realtors or something like that. Talk a little bit about just particularly being a member of your professional organization, and help us out with the TAA membership a little while you're at it.
Oh, definitely. It sounds like it's just a sales pitch, but there's so much power to just being in the room, even if it's just virtually. If you're not plugged in or not part of an organization, everybody feels like they're in this alone at times, because it is scary. You wake up, you watch whatever news is on. There's not much to be positive about. But fear, that's an unpleasant emotion, and you don't want to have that. And worrying, that's not good for you. Stress, that's not good for you. And a lot of times as we run our own businesses, and it's completely changed, and you spend your time just what ifing, what does this work? Does this work? And one way we can alleviate all that is just by being connected and communicating and sharing kind of what's going on in your life with other people that are experiencing the exact same thing as you are. And it does seem like a silly sales pitch, but there's nothing more powerful than just being in the room, being connected, knowing that you're not in it alone, and it can create a lot of relief for you instead of having all this built up anxiety. There's nothing worse than having to stress and worry. And I appreciate you doing this, Shane. We've been doing some things the last couple of weeks on the Tennessee Auctioneers page, and man, I forget what it was this morning, 16,000 views on all the videos we've done over 2 weeks. And then tonight we get to take the gloves off and be a little not quite so PC on it, and a little more rough on who all we bring in. And I appreciate you doing it, because there's a lot of auctioneers that we're not in this alone. We're all doing the same thing, just a little bit differently. And it makes you feel good to know that you're not alone in the business that we're in.
Well, and you've said the last couple of weeks, and I know Michael would agree. We've never really felt so connected, because I have had conversations, and an hour long. And Michael, I know your time is important. We'll get you off here soon, I promise. But it's crazy to me with my military background. We were always very tight knit. That tight knit is what makes the military. Both I was in the Marines and the Army, so both of those are tight knit machines. It's a well-oiled machine, and it moves because you have a standing operating procedure. You have confidence in the guy behind you. You have confidence in the guy in front of you. And before I was in the auction industry, I didn't think anything else existed like it, to be honest with you. But the auction industry has taught me one thing specifically, is if there's a trade organization, and I don't care if you're a carpenter, I don't care what you're doing. If there is a trade organization and sometimes subsets like WAPA, because if I understand correctly, it's kind of it's for the automobile auctioneer professionals. But, you know, those individuals that are a part of those organizations can help you where you don't have to beat your head against the wall for the first 2 or 3 years in an industry, right? When you get started as a X, whatever that profession is, usually the first couple of years, you're making the mistakes that everybody else made, right? You're learning all the things that everybody else always knows, but you don't share that industry. Like if you're a trader on the stock market, you guys aren't getting together on Friday nights and swapping secrets. Typically at an association meeting, state level, national level, WAPA meetings, I'm sure at the World Automobile Auctioneer Championship, most of the mentorship and the knowledge is after the classes. It's after the competitions. And sometimes it's over a cup of coffee. Sometimes it's over a beer, whatever. And that's what I wanted this to be like, because when you're a member of a national organization or state organizations, I would have never met Jay Cash, which could or couldn't be a good thing. Who knows? I would not have had the opportunity to have known Trey Morris before he was the IAC champion, and wouldn't have the opportunity to know folks like Justin Oaks and Michael Riggins and all that. So if you're out there and you're trying to do it on your own, join your local organization. You know, I like to say it's 10% of the auction industry doing 90% of the business. I don't know if that's been before. I heard that somewhere. But the truth is, you can look around the room in Tennessee or Kentucky, up in the tri-state area, or at the national convention, and you can look around and go, this is really just 10% of the industry. But they're doing 90% of the business for a reason. And that's a perfect segue to Trey Morris. Tell us about the NAA. If there's folks out there that aren't a member or that want to become a member again, tell us what it's done for you and kind of what it's done for people all over the country.
Yeah. 2014 was my first conference and show, and the first time that I really took an opportunity to go just see what it was all about. I had no idea. So 2014, and just to go back from there, in 2012, I went to my first state convention, and I met so many great people. And again, I was working a full-time job and just looking for some opportunities in the auction business. And so I won the state in 2012. I did not go and compete in the IAC that year because I married my wife in 2012. 2013, I was chicken. But in 2014, I was serving as a board of director, and the NAA came to Louisville, Kentucky. So I entered the contest. I got so lucky, and I made the top 15. But none of that had to happen for my life to change. And it changed indefinitely. It really all goes back to the people that I met, the relationships that I started building in 2014, but that has gotten better and better and better every year. It sounds so cliche when you talk, you know, the NAA didn't do that much for you. It was a building block for me. It was truly the foundation to the reason why I am, if I'm anything, why I'm still in the auction business, and quite frankly, why I make a full-time living in the auction business. The NAA kind of gave me that. First and foremost, yes, I did marry up Cody Shelley. I will 100% go with that. But the NAA for me, yes, it gave me the camaraderie. I met so many good people. The education's awesome. But really, just to put it all together, the NAA gave me wings. It got me out of Murray, Kentucky, and allowed me to kind of spread my wings and fly. And it got me out. I remember the first time I came back from Louisville, Kentucky, I got a phone call and they go, hey, right when I walked off the stage, hey, can you come to Virginia? Can you work a car sale? I'm going, oh my gosh, this is about to get crazy. Fast forward another month, I got a phone call. I went to Reno, Nevada. And it really allowed me to spread my wings. I've met so many great people from across the globe. And the NAA put me on the map. I am a prodigy of the NAA. It's not the good old boys club. They will advocate. They will fight on your behalf. This is National Auctioneers Week. They will promote the fire out of you, out of auctions. And more than anything, you will meet great people, a network of great people that you can lean on constantly that aren't out to they're not against you. They're for you. Yeah,
I mean, that's important, right? Because each of us get caught work in our business instead of on our business very often. It's surprising to me. Auctioneers are such great communicators on a microphone, and we're good communicators in certain situations. But sometimes you got to take your head out of whatever you're doing and look up and figure out who can help you, why you haven't asked them, because a lot of those answers are there. And for me, the TAA was the stepping stone for me. And once I realized, in Tennessee, I had the ability to reach out to folks that had far more experience than I did. And then with the National Auctioneers Association, last year, you just look around the room and go, wow, I can just literally go ask him or ask her or understand this, or, what about this or what about that? And Trey, I hate to tell you this, but I knew you won before anybody else did on the stage for sure. And Jay got to tell his story, and I'll tell this because maybe they'll do something different this year. But I was standing right behind Beth Rose, just in case you didn't know that. And I'm just a little bit taller than Beth, right? And I couldn't tell who was in second and third place, but I saw just a little bit of your last name over her shoulder. So it took everything I had not to be excited before it actually happened, but you did an outstanding job. Obviously, Michael, I just sent Cody Shelley an invite. If he doesn't come on now, maybe we will be able to get him in, because I think he is a great representative of what you guys do. I mean, just kind of talk about passing that torch on over the last few years, and then Cody Shelley came in this year and just blew it away in the World Automobile Auctioneer Championship.
Yeah. So to go back to what you guys were just talking about, as far as organizations and being part of an organization, I think it's so important, and it's done so much for my career. In the beginning of my career, I wasn't a member of the NAA. I just was kind of out there on an island. I did my car auctions and went home, right? I wasn't investing in myself in any way. I began to do that. And in addition to being a member of the NAA and WAPA, competing in contests, the people I've met and the improvement that I've seen in myself through competing in contests is huge. I mean, it's just huge. The relationships I have with people like Trey and Jay, and I met them all at contests, right? I met you guys. I met them at contests. That's where it happens, right? And you said, Shane, it's the conversations that happen before and after the contest sometimes that are the most beneficial, without a doubt. Without a doubt. It's conversations like this that we're having on here too, Shane. So I thank you for doing what you're doing. I think it's positive. I see all these people that are commenting online that are watching with us. It's huge. It's just huge. The benefit of being able to talk to people that have common interests, that love the auction business, that want to see other people do well. Those are the people that are at the conference and show. Those are the people that are at the WAC contest. Those are the people that are at the IAC. Those are the people that want to see that want to see the rising tide lift all boats, right? We're not here to knock people down. We're here to lift them up. And I think through those avenues are certainly time-tested and proven ways to get better at what we're doing. And there's
He proves the type of champion he is. I called him out, and bam, he pops up. Cody Shelley, 2019 World Automobile Auctioneer Champion. What's up, brother?
He's probably driving to a car sale because he's probably got 80 of them a week.
I wish. Can you hear it? There it is.
The 2019 champ. So there he is, folks. This is the has-been in 2016, and there's the reigning and current world champion.
Trey, sorry about it, but since we postponed, I'm going to be I may not be the best, I may not be the youngest, but I will be the longest world champion that has ever been out of the world auction, auction contest.
That's right.
That's great.
You're going to hold it for over a year. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, I've been watching tonight, guys. Thank you. I've watched a lot of your videos, past tense, I guess. I've honestly been working for my wife more than I've been doing anything. And we've taken this time to, although scary, but we moved to Texas in June and had high hopes and aspirations, and we built a lot of fence, and I figured out real quick that a microphone fits a lot better in my hands than a welding rod or a set of pliers. So it's been an experience to say the least, but like Trey, I'm attempting to stay positive through it all. And it's not been easy, but it's been something that has been probably for me forever life changing.
Yeah.
And probably exactly what I needed at exactly the right time.
I've heard that from a few people, Cody. It's
I
crazy.
needed
It's crazy
this.
the way that I think we can turn this into something.
For lack of better words, it was a good roadblock at a good time. For me and my business, it's made me look for, and like Trey and I've spoke, how diversified are you? And how diversified can you get? Because we all think we're diversified enough, but maybe we need to attempt to diversify more. I'm excited to see everybody on the diet. I'm excited to see all my buddies. I'm excited for Friday with the WAPA call.
Yeah. Cody has been Cody and I have had quite a few conversations. I've entrusted Cody a lot with a lot of things WAPA related, and he's really stepped up. I appreciate him for wanting to be a part. And it just goes to show you that people that go to these contests, that do compete, that are a part of these organizations like Cody is, are giving. They're people that want to see other people do good, right? We're not here to step on someone's back on our way up the ladder. We're here to make sure that everybody else is lifted by the knowledge that we've gained. And Cody's one of those people. So I thank him for doing what he's been doing with WAPA. And it just goes to show you that those are that people like Trey, people like Cody, they're giving. They care about other people's success, right? And people like you, Shane, and you, Jay, who are doing this, you care about the auction industry. Those are the people that are at the IAC. Those are the people that are at conference and show. Those are the people that are at the WAC championship. Those are the people we want to be members of WAPA. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Jay Cash, do you have a child or a wife waiting? Do you need to get off here? Do you want to give us some last words of wisdom? Trey, I think
it's bad time. I got to go. This is great, echoing and all, but fear is an unpleasant emotion that's created by a belief that something bad's going to happen to us, and we're all fearful that something bad's going to happen. And one way, to just alleviate that, and I will admit, as a car auctioneer, this is easier said than done. In the benefit world, this is a little bit easier, but it's still not easy. It's simple, but it ain't easy. Remove those considerations. Don't allow those fears and those thoughts to enter your mind where it just paralyzes you. It's going to be a fight, but we are going to win. And we just have to figure out, how to adjust, add new structures to our business. Don't be afraid to call out to people that need our services. That's something I have to remind myself. There's people out there, they need us. These nonprofits that I'm working for, they need us. They're just as scared as anybody. And me being able to offer some bit of help, which is either a virtual gala or other revenue generators that they can implement when they can't have their big fundraising gala. That's so important to them, and just create new products and services. I know that, Shane, you and I, we've got the virtual gala that we're doing on Monday, creating demos to send out to new clients where they can benefit from it. But, don't allow the fear to paralyze you, to enter your mind and just shut you down. You've got to stay positive, take more action, keep working harder, do what you're doing just on a grander scale. Making 2 or 3 phone calls a day isn't going to do that. You've got to increase the output of what you're willing to do. And I'm preaching to the choir because I'm just as guilty. I get worried. I've said it several times. You watch the news in the morning and you're ready just to hang up and quit. But I can't thank you guys enough for being good friends. Michael, I've known you for 2 or 3 years now. Trey, I've known you the longest. And Shane, you have been a great friend too. And I appreciate you having the nerve and the guts to put this video together. I've got to go give a bath to Perry, and I'll see you guys later.
Take care, Jay.
Hey, Jay.
See you, buddy.
I didn't think we were going to get a word in edgewise, so if we got him out of here, it might be a little easier. In all honesty, guys, I'll give you one last shot. Go around and say anything you want to. In my humble opinion, next to serving this country every day, the auction industry is a service-related industry that allows us to help people, regardless if it's a transactional process for automobiles, if it's helping someone sell an estate, selling thoroughbred cattle, selling thoroughbred horses, whatever you're doing, purebred cattle, thoroughbred horses, whatever you're doing. I truly feel like this industry has been around for as long as it has for a reason. And in my humble opinion, looking at you three guys is a specific reason as well. Cody, I think you made a great decision going to Texas. I was born and raised there. You can't go wrong. George Strait wrote a song about me a long time ago. It's the only reason I'm not in Texas. I've got a couple ex-wives there, and that's why I'm in Tennessee. Michael, if you want to start it off and then kick it to Trey, give everybody some parting words, and we'll let you guys get back to your life.
Yeah. Thank you again, Shane, for doing this. It's a really uplifting and positive thing that we're able to be a part of. Get ready for the auction recovery, right? Get ready for the business to go crazy when this thing ends, right? That's what I want everybody to take away from this, especially the car auction world. I think we're poised for a solid, strong, good return to business here. I think the demand is good. I think the health of the car industry is going to be okay. But in the meantime, let's look out for each other. Let's care about what each other is doing and how we can lift the auction industry as a whole during these hard times. I really firmly believe that. I'm here for anybody that would like to talk. I want to be helpful in any way I can. I don't know what that is. I don't know if I can be helpful to anybody, but I sure want to be. So if there's anything that I can do, please reach out. I'm an open book. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I don't hold back. Anybody that knows me knows that. But I care about this business more than you'll ever know. I'm a third generation auctioneer. And I've been holding things over my head at estate sales since I was old enough to stand up, and I hope I get to do it for the rest of my life. And so I care about this business very deeply, and I care about the people involved in it, because everybody that I've met in this business has been good people, just like the three of you guys. So I thank you for the opportunity, and I know Trey has something far more put together to say, because that's just the kind of guy he is. And I've heard him at Barrett Jackson, and he makes it look easy. So Trey, I appreciate you, man. And take it away, buddy. There he
True
goes.
champion right there. Words of a true champion. Shane, thank you for having me on. I know it was kind of short notice, and I did. I just jumped on tonight and just wanted to be a part of this. I've watched, like Cody, I've watched so many of these shows. You guys do a phenomenal job. And hats off to you for doing it and finding time to do it. Two most important days in anybody's life. I think this is a Mark Twain quote. It's the day you're born and the day you figure out why. And I think us three and many others that are watching across the world, they found their calling. We're doing exactly what we're supposed to do. I can tell you that being an auctioneer, holding a microphone in my hand, that is my dream job. That is 100% what I love to do. And it puts breath back in my lungs whenever I feel beat up and beat down. So I think there's light at the end of the tunnel, and I can't wait to get back there. But I've got people like you, and I've got an auction community and a family that are behind me. I've got a loving wife, and that's really what all this boils down to. This has given me an opportunity to go back to the drawing board, and I encourage you to do the same thing. Look, measure, look at your business, come up with that business plan, but more importantly, more than anything, work-life balance. Figure out what you need to put first in your life. For me, I'm looking up more than I'm looking out. And so I really think it's an important time for you to look at what you want to do with your life, what your life looks like. I know I was so concentrated on work, but now I'm taking the opportunities to concentrate on my family, my life at home, and still work on that business plan moving forward. These associations are a huge part of my life, especially the National Auctioneers Association. They're keeping us informed. They're fighting for us each and every single day. All I can say is please stay positive. If you guys need anything at all, you got a few guys right here, and especially me. Pick up the phone call, and I can't tell you enough how much I need you. You guys can certainly call me, lean on me, check in on me. and I will certainly try to do the same thing if you need anything at all. But again, Shane, thank you for having us on here. There's light at the end of the tunnel. You guys are true champions. I can't wait to go back to work with you, and I wish you all nothing but the very best. So God bless all of you.
Thanks,
too,
Trey. Sorry, you got to follow Trey now.
Can't hear you, Cody. Can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you. I don't know if you're plugged in or plugged out, or I got you unmuted. Are you there now?
No.
I will say he has the biggest head of us three, and Michael Riggins has the nicest hair.
I don't know about that. You're wearing a hat. You can't see your perfect. You can't see your letters.
Yeah.
The fact that he has hair is admirable.
It's
No,
turned
Cody,
gray by the second, man.
Are you there?
Nope. Can't hear him.
No, not yet.
He
You
should
keep
have moved.
working on it. I'll try to sign off. Cody, thank you. Michael,
Appreciate
thank
you,
you.
Cody.
Ray.
And
Tell you
hey,
how much I appreciate it.
I know what Cody was going to say. He was going to say everybody that wants to be on that WAPA call should reach out to me or Cody on Facebook, and we'll get you the link on Friday at 6 p.m. Central Time. We're going to have another get-together. Cody Shelley, the 2019 World Automobile Auctioneer Champion, is going to be on there, along with a bunch of other top industry professionals in the car auction business. So we'll be glad to have everybody on there as well. Tim, Thank you for being on there with us. His comment on there, I see that. And Shane, thanks again for everything. It's
Hey, no problem, guys. Thank you very much. Hope to see you in a live auction real soon. We're going to wrap up, guys. That's the word on the block. We'll see you next week.
Boom. Peace.
Take care, everyone.